Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Rachel, this is Nancy. We are your SB team and very excited about our Smart Senior Living Seminar today, having Jeanne West here. Before we get started, can you please turn off your cell phones? And just a little housekeeping, our restrooms are out to your right and right. Can you raise your hand if you've ever been to one of our senior seminars? Yay! Wonderful. And our newcomers? Yay! We're glad you're here. Yay! So we would like to thank our educational partners, Wood Glen Senior Living, Port Lamar Nursery, Cody's Cafe, Paragon Mortgage Group, Center for Successful Aging. There's a couple of their newspapers in the back. We have The Key, Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History, the Down Syndrome Association, Grace Fisher Foundation, and Curated Transitions. We have Karen Martin here as well. So we appreciate all of our educational sponsors that help put on these events, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Nancy.
I don't know if you've heard Jeanne West speak before. She is amazing. She just gives you so much information and depth that you walk away with so much knowledge, and so we're so happy to have her here today. And she's just a delight for our community because she gives so much to our community. So you guys are going to be loving everything she's telling us, even though it may be not what you want to hear, which is prepare to care. But she will help you get ready or get thoughtfulness on the subject, and I know you will enjoy her as much as we enjoy her. So thank you all for coming, and if you want to get coffee, sneak it in now before she starts talking. Thank you. And thank you, Jeanne, for coming.
Can you all hear me well enough without the microphone?
I think so.
Okay, she says microphone. I didn't win on that one. Well, I want to give kind of an overview of how I came about preparing this program. Like many of you, I get tons of emails advertising upcoming webinars on a variety of subjects. And this one came up, I'm going to say about a year ago, sponsored by AARP. Well, I took pages and pages of notes. Even though some of the information was not brand new to me, I loved the way it was packaged to be able to help caregivers. So I then decided to take a chance, call AARP, and see if they would part with the wonderful booklet that I have provided to you today, and they sent me 100 of them. So I've done this presentation for the Parkinson's Association. I'm now doing it for you, and much of what I am going to be speaking about is found in this book. So the 5 important tasks or responsibility of caregiving is outlined very nicely in this book. So don't worry so much about taking notes, just listen up. And I guess it's going to be recorded on YouTube, so if you just are dying to see me a second time, you can go to YouTube. I hope each and every one of you took all of these handouts that I prepared for you, because they really do supplement the importance of taking care of yourself and knowing that you're not alone when the going gets tough. I like to say, repeat a saying that my brothers used to say when we were kids: when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So hopefully there are some tools here. The Prepare to Care booklet will talk about the importance of taking a break for yourself if you are the primary caregiver, or even a secondary or on-call caregiver. This is a big job. So feel the need weight and importance of giving yourself time to take care of yourself to relieve that stress. Have compassion for yourself. Don't beat yourself up about things that you feel are overwhelming as part of this responsibility, or you feel short-tempered at times or impatient. This is a big job, caring for someone else. And most often, the someone else is someone related to us, which makes the job a very emotional one. And I've given you a page called a care map. And this is just a way to help you in advance or as you go through caregiving, identify people in the sphere of the person for whom you're caring that might be a support system to you. So we'll refer to that later. I could not help but put a picture up of my late husband. Not only am I a nurse, and I've been involved in long-term care as administrator at various places here in Santa Barbara, but I was a full-time caregiver for this wonderful man, Don Underdown. And until you walk in the shoes of being a caregiver, I think one tends to believe that, oh, this stuff is just in books. It doesn't really happen, nor do the feelings change as the stress level increases. But let me tell you, he taught me so much. He had Lewy body dementia with Parkinsonian features at the end of his life. And although difficult behaviors happen very seldom, when they happened, they were major. So a lot to learn. I love this quote by Rosalind Carter. Have any of you heard it or seen it? And I think it's really true. There are only 4 kinds of people in this world, and we're one of these, or several. Those who have been caregivers, those who currently are caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and while we don't want to think about it, those who will need caregivers. None of us know the path ahead. I know I can say in my life of over 50 years as a nurse, as an administrator, I think the most important role I've ever had in my life has been the role of a caregiver. Because you really learn internally what it takes and who you are and how to develop that compassionate role with sensitivity and honesty. I define compassionate caregiving as giving physical, emotional, social, and spiritual support. I'm not talking heavy-duty religion here, but spiritual support to a person in need with tenderness, sensitivity, and skill. And being able to step back when you've done something that you know doesn't feel good. Maybe it's a reaction, verbal or nonverbal, about something unpleasant. All of those reactions, we never really know how much are absorbed by that person that we are caring for. So be alert to the need for tenderness, sensitivity, and skill. And all of these things we learn and grow in as we do the job. So how many here are currently caregivers? Doesn't need to be full-time, even if you're sitting with someone for a while, or how many have been caregivers? Look at the hands. Look at them, almost everybody. And we won't go into who might need them. Care, patience, and love. And I think love wraps the whole thing up. When we love somebody intently and intensely, it's amazing what we can do and how strong we can be. So don't give up on yourself if you've lost it here or there once or twice. You'll gain by what you learn. These were actually last year's statistics, and then 2 weeks ago, I read the AARP bulletin. Do any of you get this? It is chock full of stuff, and I gotta tell you, I don't always pick it up and read it, but I'm getting more tuned into that because there's a lot of good information. So some of these statistics remain the same as of this year and fully for all of 2023. Think of this. Family caregivers provide 36 billion hours of unpaid care. We never get paid for a husband or a wife or a daughter or a sister. Think of the financial, to say nothing of the emotional gift that we are giving. Worth $600 billion. And we know the cost of care today in long-term care. It's very expensive. The average family pays $7,200 for other needs. So this might be medications, it might be briefs, it might be other kinds of supplies. So when it comes to the cost of caregiving, it's enormous. Not just the person, but the supplies and the support, and maybe doing household renovations to make life safer for you and the caregiver. Oftentimes, the family caregiver is also holding down a job. That was my case before I realized some of the inappropriate decision-making that was going on, and you usually don't find that out until the disaster has happened. So juggling, working, and being a caregiver has its own stresses. We know, as a matter of fact, that there was a caregiver workforce shortage before COVID. Do you think COVID made it better or worse? Without a doubt, much worse. We're now at a point in time where private duty home care agencies are sharing staff and sharing cases because they don't have enough caregivers. What is the reason for this? I think some of the caregivers went out and got different jobs that paid a little more, that had less stress, and maybe didn't have to work the long hours or the night hours. But it does present a problem when someone is ready to make that step to go to a private duty agency and they tell you they can't help you or they refer you to somebody else. So this book, this AARP, Prepared to Care, is meant to help us understand the various facets that caregiving involves. And these are the 5 main steps in the caregiver journey that I'm going to review with you today. Starting the conversation, don't wait for the crisis. Many of you may have been aware of the advanced healthcare planning programs that Hospice of Santa Barbara started about, 6 years ago, and I was part of that journey. And I do have a handout for you. That's what starting the conversation is about. Have we talked to the person that we are caring for, that we love, to get an idea of what their wishes are in the event of a healthcare crisis? And that's what advanced care planning. I've given you a flyer that, as luck would have it, was just sent to me yesterday afternoon. For those of you who don't have a health directive or have done it more than 5 years ago or have a new diagnosis, or your decision maker, your healthcare agent, is ill or has passed on, this is a wonderful opportunity at the Women's Club. October 14th and 21st, they will walk you through the My Care document, that is this, and they will help answer questions so that you can properly fill it out. And then part 2 is they'll have a notary, so your signature gets witnessed. They'll make copies of the document and get it to Cottage for you. So if you have not done this recently, please consider going to that free class. Form your team. There is no one in this room, myself included, that can be a full-time caregiver alone. You need a support system. You need a break. You need respite. So there needs to be a group of people that you can call upon, lean on, get help and support from as you yourself need a break in the caregiving role. Make a plan of what it is, and I call it a care plan because that's the nursing lingo, what it is that the person needs, what their diagnosis or their physical situation demands of the caregiver, and spell out what the role of the caregiver is. So it could be assistance with bathing, it could be safety issues, it could be make sure that when Joe gets up, he has his walker with him. Make sure that he's moving around so we don't develop skin problems, that nutrition is adequate. So that should be in a plan. And if you have other people coming to supplement your care, I suggest, and I just put this book together, this is what I do when I set up a care plan, just a plain old binder, and have that care plan in there of what the needs are and how those needs get filled and the frequency and who's responsible or during what time period those needs should be met. Find support, reach out. One of the ladies here told me today that she is going to the Parkinson's support group. Her brother has Parkinson's, and what a tremendous help this has been to know she's not the only one doing this, and she's not the only one facing these difficult problems. And I'm going to share with you, because you don't know who it is, but she said to me today, I think something very precious. I've been going to this support group for ages and ages, and last week, one of the support group caregivers, which probably was a spouse, said, we all should consider ourselves lucky that we're not the one that has this. And all of a sudden, she walked away saying, why am I complaining? So lots of insights we get as we care in this field of caregiver. And take care of yourself. So I'll just inject here. When I was a full-time caregiver, I was part of centering prayer group that was formed through my church that we met once a week. And it was just a way to quiet oneself down and bring in a spiritual component that could be reading scripture. We chose a book to read, and then we would describe and share what insights we got out of certain chapters of the book. Very helpful. Exercise. I cannot tell you, this probably saved me. I have a lot of workout equipment in my house, and I did a workout every day before I started the day. And I swear to you, that's a very healthy way to manage stress as well. Go for a walk with neighbors. If your loved one can't be left alone, this gives you an opportunity to be outside, to get exercise, and to share your story, and to hear other stories. So those are just some ideas in addition to all of these things that I put on this page. So take what fits for you, but do know that taking care of yourself is only going to make you a better caregiver. So start the conversation. I'll give another plug. We've got a couple weeks. you have a flyer, please call Hospice of Santa Barbara and let them know you would like to attend the class, so they bring enough volunteers, enough booklets, and so forth. Women's Club in Carpinteria. Make sure, especially for someone that you're caring for, and if it's a family member, that they have a directive that's completed correctly. That means signed and dated. You can't imagine what I've seen in the years of reviewing probably thousands of directives. That their doctors have a copy, that Cottage Hospital has a copy, and that you know where it is in the house. It shouldn't be in a safe deposit box or a bank or someplace else. It needs to be accessible. And I'm just going to put this up as well. Someone caring for an older individual, more frail, with chronic illnesses, might consider having a POLST form. This is physician orders for life-sustaining treatment. This form must be discussed with the patient's physician and signed by the doctor. So it now becomes a doctor's order. So having discussions, does the person want CPR or not? And what kind of treatment would they agree to artificial nutrition? Important discussions to have. Who is going to take that lead role to make sure that this important paperwork gets done? And I think it's important, especially if there are a group of family members who might not all be on the same page, that they all be there together when this important discussion happens. So we don't have someone saying, Mom would have never decided to do that. And now you've got conflict within the family circle. So make sure everybody is part of that. And it should be the person who has the illness, unless they lack capacity. So important to take all that into consideration. Okay, so how do we start this process? I say use icebreakers, because nobody wants to have someone approach them with a discussion. Hey, let's talk about end-of-life issues. That wouldn't really warm you up, would it? So maybe you could use this program. I just attended a program, and I heard how important it is to have this documentation current, correct, clear, and that it should be reviewed periodically as health conditions or wishes changes. Or maybe a friend or colleague has suggested this. Or maybe someone's heard it in a support group. Hey, we didn't have one, and oh my goodness, I went to this class, I learned so much, and now I have one for myself, and I didn't have a directive either. So good reasons. Feedback. Listen carefully to what our care receiver is telling us. I can hardly get up those steps anymore. And you're seeing the difficulty there. This might be an option to start thinking, is there a different lifestyle location we should be considering? And generally what I mean by this is not buying another house, but thinking, is this the time for memory care or assisted living or a higher level of care? Or bringing in paid caregiving help if one can afford that. I think there's a trap that many of us face because of our own anxiety in speaking about difficult subjects. Let's not avoid having a conversation because we're afraid of mentioning or talking about caregiving, care needs, care wishes in end of life. But you start out gently. It's liable or likely to take place over time. Believe me, I did enough of these programs to know the questions people come up with that I wouldn't have thought of in 100 years. You're not going to sit down in 1 hour and get everything done. You might have to do it in 2 or 3 different time periods. Let the person know that you love and are concerned about them, but most importantly, that having a directive in place and having this conversation is going to give you peace of mind that you're honoring that person's wishes, rather than making a decision with no, oh gee, I don't know what Bob would have ever wanted. And it's important to listen. Sometimes we get more information out of the stories that people tell us than out of expecting a yes, no, or I want this, or I want that. So listen to the whole story and what that person is saying. And unfortunately, sometimes they're unsavory or bad stories. You know, people like to dig out the negative and talk about that because it gets a little more attention. So sort through the information as the person is talking. Do we get to override the decisions of our loved one? Anybody?
Sometimes.
Okay, so when it comes to formally documented plans, if someone has said, I want everything done, do we get to say, oh no, you don't? Maybe we would like to say that. So maybe you need to bring healthcare professionals into the conversation if it's difficult for you to help the person understand what life care options are. So know that there are always a team of professionals. Doctors, a little challenging because you're in and out these days with doctors, but there are lots of professionals here who can help you find the words to say to get the choices clear. Have other family members involved. Don't take this on by yourself. And it's also good for those other family members to hear what the care receiver is saying personally, so you're not paraphrasing in a way that maybe changes what they've said. Understand that loved one's priorities. Some may be very comfortable and demanding and want to stay at home. I helped a neighbor a couple months ago who came to me and said her husband has dementia and he's needing more and more physical care, and he is okay with the idea of moving to assisted living. So we don't always get negative. We may see someone realizing the physical burden that they are placing on their loved one, and for that reason, be clear. So difficult subjects do come up. Let's get some help and support with that. We have to size up the situation as we see it, not as someone else proposes it to us. So you as caregivers, if you are or have been in that role, you know what you're facing each and every day. So getting those priorities lined up, straightened out, and discussed with other stakeholders, other family members, the medical profession becomes very important. We know options oftentimes are based on cost. So it is expensive to hire private duty home care now. We've heard VNA, we've heard other providers. It's in the $35, $40 an hour range. You can always hire privately, and I'll review that. There are some risks and hazards with that, so we want to be thoughtful. And the best fit, you know, agencies can send in a caregiver that might not be a good fit for the care receiver. It's important to pay attention to that, because maybe you just need to ask for a switch. So if you've got a very quiet person and you bring in a chatty Kathy who wants to busy, it's likely not to work out. So the more you can define on the personality of the care receiver to make a good fit with that caregiver, the better it's likely to be for everyone. We know there's going to be resistance. No, I don't need anybody to take care of me. Well, honey, I have to go to the store and I'm concerned to leave you alone because you've fallen before when that has happened. So I need to do this for me. That's likely to get a better reception, believe it or not, than you need a caregiver. So how we say things has a lot to do with how they're accepted. And it might not go well the first time, drop it. There's always a period of time to let the subject rest and kind of cogitate to, again, maybe pick it up at a later point in time. And then, as I mentioned, support from others. So it might be the family, friend, someone from your religious community, a doctor, a therapist. Reach out and get the support. This is too big to do by yourself. Team. Okay. The care map just really outlines who you should think about is near and available, or maybe not near, but is willing to be a support system, and document that. This is just kind of a rough drawing. I was just back in Pennsylvania to see my two aging brothers. I was the youngest of 5, by the way, so don't be guessing I'm in my 80s yet. I have a brother 85 and one 89. The 89-year-old just moved into a retirement community, and I think it was helpful with my background for me to see the place and to tell him, wow, are you lucky? He's got a beautiful apartment with the view of the woods of little Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The food, everybody measures food. Food was pretty good, he said. It really helped him feel a little more comfortable, despite the fact that it was his adult children who said, Dad, you're falling too often. And one of these times, we're not going to get there in time. And you may lay on the floor, and it's not good. So how we have the conversation makes a whole difference in the acceptance. And the care map, who would have thought I was going to be a caregiver for my 85-year-old brother? And let me just say, I saw firsthand, and when it's a family member, it really touches you deeply. This guy's been battling malignant melanoma for over 25 years. He's had colon cancer, 2 strokes. He has expressive aphasia. He knows exactly what he wants to say, but he can't, the words get jumbled. So over the phone, I can barely understand 25%. Sitting in front of him and watching his lips, I did better. But this 85-year-old is being cared for by his 92-year-old wife. She now is looking 92. And she needed to get away. This is the first time that my brother has not gone on the trip. Now, he's fighting using the walker. He's had skin problems. He has breathing issues. He's still on immunotherapy. Talk about conversations. That was an intense one. So I was with him for 2 days, and his son and daughter-in-law were with him the other day so that my sister-in-law can get a break. She needed to get away. So important, near and far. I happened to be near for that occasion, so I slipped right back into that caregiver role. Amazing. Get on your team people that are going to coalesce and work closely with you. If you're doing a push-pull, you're going to feel frustrated. It's not that everybody's going to totally agree with you, but if you could get a cohesive group of family members, neighbors, friends. I think the care plan team will go a little more smoothly. I think each person needs to be cross-trained. This was true of my brother. Somebody was putting lotion on the rash that he gets all over his body from the reaction to these drugs. I took him out for a walk with his walker. Somebody else would prepare the food. So the more we can get people to do different parts of the work for that caregiver, the less stressed they're going to be if each one can take turns doing different jobs. Assign roles and responsibility, and our care always needs to be on the person, the care recipient. Okay, I referred to make a plan. I want to make sure I'm staying within my time frame. Make a plan, and I think having the plan revolve around someone's already wonderful abilities. Somebody's a great cook, somebody makes wonderful soup, somebody else enjoys going out on the walk and they know safety protocol. Someone else is willing to do the shaving and the oral care or the bath care. All of these duties are important, and again, to cross-train so that different people can help out if someone goes away and takes a break. Look at the immediate needs, focus on them. Safety is usually the number one biggest. And what usually or so often lands a person in the hospital who has a frailty, what do you think it is? Falls. Very good, 100%. It's a fall. So that's the worst thing that can happen. So we want to make sure that we kind of fall-proof the house, the grab bars, the over the toilet raised seat, a bedside commode if we need that for nighttime, grab bars everywhere. I said, you know what? You can fix a hole in the wall a whole lot easier than you can fix a broken hip. So let's put grab bars up. And the team needs to communicate with each other, which is why I think having a booklet, if somebody comes during the day, let's talk about what happened during the day, how the nutrition was, bath care, incontinence, skin, what happened in the evening. Oh, I took him for a walk around 2 blocks. We stopped 4 times, but he did well. I applied the night cream, whatever it is, so that we know if we're one of a team of caregivers that the job that we were assigned to or we saw needed to be done got done. Review it periodically, and I say have the care receiver in on the team meeting. How's this going with you? Is your nutrition okay? Are you okay with the person giving the bath care? Toward the last, I think my husband was on hospice 3 months. Back then, now this was 2008, it might be very different from now, but I had a home health aide through the hospice program 5 days a week, and she did the bath. Why was that important? Because as the weakness continued to pervade Don's body, he was probably at end of life 6'1", but he was a tall guy. I want you to know, take a look at me, I'm 5 feet tall, and he weighed well over 200 pounds. So you can see that caregiving was a challenge, and when I had that home health aide that we could do this together, even though I had the bath seat and the transfer bench and all of this, a lot easier. Keep everybody informed, be clear about what you want to accomplish, take notes and summarize, particularly if there have been doctor visits and medication changes. Everybody on the team that comes once a day, once a week should know about that. Community resources, plug. Senior Expo. Ordinarily, it would have been this week, but we could not get there Warren Showground. It is October 17th, which is 2.5 weeks away on a Thursday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. We have at this point in time over 100 exhibitors. And that ranges from home care providers, assisted living, skilled nursing, retirement communities, senior Medicare insurance programs, area agency on aging, realtors, banks, downsizers, thank you, tried to memorize all of these. Windows by Anderson, so household, caregiving, transportation. Please come to that, $5, and you will learn a lot. Senior Connection is a program that is offered telephone consultation by the Area Agency on Aging. They will be there as well, providing information on community resources. I want to get one of those wonderful boxes that you can program that goes ding ding and it will tell the person when they need to take their medicine. Call Senior Connection. They'll tell you who to talk to. Caregiving agencies, supplies, so forth. Great organization. A lot of people don't know Area Agency on Aging does that. And that's their number. Meals, transportation, caregivers. Neighbors were so wonderful to me back in Pennsylvania. I gotta tell you, once a week somebody would make a meal and bring it over. I mean, what a gift, isn't it? Or one would come and sit with Dawn while I went walking with 3 other neighbors. So you'd be surprised. Everybody's a little different. But if you've lived in your home for a long time, maybe you're connected to neighbors. They're not going to know you need help unless you come ranting, raving, crying out of the house because you're exhausted and then pick it up. Or you say, hey, is there a chance you might help me? And some neighbors are kind enough to even offer. So you're not going to know this is possible unless you ask. The expo we talked about, and I didn't put them out. Senior Resource Directory. Does everybody in this room have a Senior Resource Directory? Does anybody want one? Yeah. Would you? I didn't bring 20, but I wrote what I had.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you. So, great booklet to find out about resources. Consult a professional. Someone like myself, can be a nurse, can be a social worker. I think the criteria should be someone that is experienced in elder care. So the name or the type of professional doesn't matter, but what does matter is that they know community resources and they know senior care. Don't know that we have any currently other than Karen, employed people, but oftentimes big organizations have an employee assistance program. Why? Because they don't want the absenteeism. So if they can help by giving time off, and today in the Zoom world, let the person work from home, what a great resource this is. So the person keeps their job to keep the income happening and is also able to provide support as a caregiver. Faith communities, I mentioned to you, I'm really excited that the Old Mission, Santa Barbara, St. Barbara Parish, we're starting a ministry of compassion and training volunteers for that. So if someone calls and said, my husband is critically ill, I'm really feeling down, I need somebody to talk to, or I'd like you to come and see him, or someone has lost a loved one due to a recent death, we'll send volunteers out with kind of a Franciscan overtone. So they have to be members of our parish, but what a gift to be able to give to people who now maybe can't go to church because they're home as caregivers. And here's a caregiver resource line. I put it in there because it's in the AARP, but I have to tell you, I like our own area agency on aging, Senior Connection, because they know the local resources. Hiring help. I'm going to go through this somewhat quickly. Identify the needs. Talk about a skill match, so you've got a personality that's going to go well with that care receiver. Be specific about duties. There's nothing that bothers me worse as a professional to go into a home and see a paid caregiver sitting on the sofa texting. It used to be watching TV, now it's texting. So be clear about duties and responsibilities, and I say have it written out. Somebody should be monitoring and evaluating, and then make changes as the person's home environment or condition change as well. These are your ways of getting someone to supplement the help that you can give. Private duty agencies, many of them are listed, a ton of them will be at the expo. Hiring privately, I'm going to say 2 things about this, 3 things. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Check references, get that person live scanned or fingerprinted, and make sure that you talk to your home insurance agent to make sure that workers' comp is covered under your home care policy. These are some just take-home advice ideas. Family members. My only worry about family members totally assuming care is that family member needs to be willing to do this. So if we've got a family member living in the house with mom and dad, who is living there because he or she is not employed and maybe has some personal issues, they are not going to make a good caregiver. So please be thoughtful about family members. And then look at that little map. Is there someone nearby around the corner? I've got a great neighbor right here around the corner. Hey Trudy, I need a break. Can you come and sit for 5 minutes? No, not the case now, but you'd be amazed that we don't so much always think about family members or people from our faith community that might be willing to help us out, as well as near and far family. Make sure the house or the environment is safe. So don't be afraid to do home modifications. As I say, those holes in the wall where you had grab bars can be fixed. Communify, which used to be Community Action Commission, will have a table at the expo, and they have some home modification things. I think grab bars are one of them, and I can't think of all of them because there's so much stuff in my head, but they do this at no charge for seniors. So I don't know what the criteria is, but I think if you're a senior, it can happen. So Communify is a resource for modifications. I don't believe they build ramps, but they do other simpler home modification. Get professional support, whether it's a support group through hospice or through the Parkinson's Association, through the Alzheimer's Association, one-to-one counseling, whatever it needs for you to continue to safely be that caregiver. And then the equipment. These are the care types of facilities. So assisted living does not have nursing care, just so you know. Memory care is not required to have nursing care, but a lot of them do have a part-time nurse. And skilled care, that means nursing home, 24/7, they must have nursing care. So in today's world, many more people age in place and live in assisted care and memory care from the point of admission to the point of end of life by bringing in hospice. So Just so you know, in years past, everybody kind of nursing home meant end of life. And now the aging in place, provided they don't have a prohibited condition. And let me tell you, the facilities, the care communities will tell you that. And last but not least, this should be number 1, but I think it's proper to be number 5 after we've talked about the complexity that is involved in caregiving. Caregiving at a distance, coordination is absolutely essential. So if a brother or sister is part of the care team, but they're 200 miles away or 2,000 miles away, they need to have updates just like your sister that lives in town. So very important. Work and caregiving, the feds did provide a Medical Family Leave Act. And so someone can retain their job if they need to be a caregiver for a period of time, so that can be explored. Here are some other things: understanding the financial impacts, looking for organizations that might be able to supplement care or support and have minimal or non-cost implications. Be an advocate with the physician, with the care team, with the care providers. If you're visiting someone in an assisted living facility and assisted living community, I want to correct that because we heard how easy it is to call these homes facilities. Assisted living community. You go in and you see that the person has eaten their food all over the mouth and down the clothing, and nobody's around. Not appropriate to leave someone in a soiled shirt that could easily be changed. You are their advocates. You are their advocates. Recognize the power of your emotions. And I've told this story before when I've done a presentation on caregiving for someone with memory impairment or dementia. Your emotions sometimes are really at fever pitch and on the surface. I give you this example because I will never forget it as long as I live. I had just cleaned the house, and in particular, sanitized the bathroom that Dawn was using because it had all the equipment and it was an easier physical environment. And he said, "Hurry, I gotta get to the bathroom, I gotta get to the bathroom." Well, it took 5 minutes to get him out of the chair, even though I had one of those lift chairs, to the wheelchair, down the hallway, to the bathroom, and then transferring him on the toilet. And just as I got him standing up and the trousers down, the accident happened all over the floor that I had just washed and sanitized. Anybody want to guess what my reaction was? I did not say a word. And folks, I am not making this up. This actually happened. Most powerful lesson I think I learned. This is what I did. Right in front of him. What do you think his response was?
I'm sorry. Embarrassing today. Cry.
He cried. The tears are just rolling down, and I got down on my hands and knees, and I said, "That was totally uncalled for. I am so sorry." And he said, "I wish I would just die. I am so much trouble." So I tell you this story because it left a lasting impact on me. Pack it up. Go in the other room and do whatever gyrations you want to do, or cuss and swear, or whatever. It's not always what we say. It's how we look and how we do the care that we're providing for people. So I say this because we're human. We need to be human. But I packed my emotions outside the door after that. And I also made sure I got some extra caregiving support, because that was an indication to me, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. So, hard way to learn. And actually back in Pennsylvania in 2008, if you can believe this, they did not have an Alzheimer's support group. So I started one. Surprise, surprise. What it takes to be a caregiver, and I came up with these because I don't know how it happened, C and L, but I wanted to I couldn't make a mnemonic by spelling something, but this is as close. Courage, commitment, creativity. You gotta be creative every day. He doesn't wanna eat, well, I'll figure out what I can do to make that more inviting. Could be presentation, it could be, okay, he wants tomato soup and a half a grilled cheese sandwich every day. It's okay. I wanna fix him something different, but that's what he wants. It's okay, yeah. Caring, compassion, love, laughter, learning, letting go. Let me tell you, the more times we had experiences where we could laugh together were the best. And sometimes they were just dumb things that happened. And then you let go of expectations and the way it used to be and move into acceptance. I made this quote, or I said this to somebody and they liked it, so I thought, I'll put it on a slide. Maybe it will ring with somebody else. Dedicated caregivers come in all sizes, shapes, ages, ethnic backgrounds, and have a variety of educational and personal experiences. They are great people who love many, give much, and serve others selflessly. You better not be in the caregiving world if you don't have some of those traits, because I'm not sure you'll be successful. Closing remarks. Plan ahead. Not easy to find. Caregivers can't wait till the date that you're falling apart and make a call and think you're gonna have somebody at 3 o'clock that afternoon. So plan ahead, do your homework, talk to other people, talk to professionals. We learn that people in support groups share a lot of great information because they've gone through the hard knocks. So ask the people in your support group, hey, I've come across this. What resource would you suggest? Have those systems lined up, whatever they are. Association conferences. Last year, the Parkinson's Association has, for I don't know how many years now, put on a conference. And we had as many as the Elks place could hold. I think we had 250 people attend that conference. And they were people with Parkinson's and their caregivers. So don't think that, because it says it's a conference, it's just for licensed professionals. Many organizations, Alzheimer's used to do annual conferences too, are geared for the frontline people. And last plug, Senior Expo, not gone, coming, October 17th. A quote by Gail Rink at a 2006 Alzheimer's conference: service to someone you love is a gift of life. Doesn't that just say it all? Their life is able to go on in a quality fashion because you're there, or another caregiver is there. So I thank you for your time and attention. Was this helpful, any of it? Yeah. Thank you so much. You did? She learned so much.
Yeah, ton of notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Isn't she amazing? Thank you again for coming. We just love listening to you. You're just an inspiration. And Jeannie brought this beautiful orchid, and she would like to give it away to someone. You want to pick a name?
Sure.
Well,
This guy. goes to.
Patty Gates,
Yay.
the orchid, and then we do also have our gift basket that we're gonna have Jeannie pick. Pick a name, Jeannie. And, let's see, it is Diane.
Yay!
There she goes. Our newcomer. So Diane will get our gift basket.
And just wanted to remind you, if you didn't pick up the flyer for the Senior Expo, it's on the back table as you walk out. And also on the back table over there, we do have all of our educational sponsors, brochures and literature. So for example, if you or you know someone who is moving and would like help organizing, figuring out what they'd like to move with them, Curated Transitions, Karen is here, and she just helped one of our last clients, and it was such a smooth, seamless move for her. So all of our brochures are back there, and if you have any questions, please reach out to Nancy or myself. Thank you again, Jeannie, for being here. Yes, thank you.